school year, and I look forward to spending a lot of time here with all of y'all. Tonight, you'll be voting on whether to keep a book in the school library that contains sexually explicit content, as defined by the state of Virginia, State Department of Education, and your own policy. While this book is popular, it doesn't generally have a bad story. It delves into adult sexual content in a way that doesn't add to the overall story. It's simply gratuitous, and although tame for adults, should not be available to 13-year-old children. In case you haven't read this book, here's a small sample of what is contained. I'm sure your voters will be curious. If there are any kids nearby, put your earmuffs on. Quote, "My nightgown had become hitched around my waist, but I didn't care. I hooked my bare legs around his, running my feet down the hard muscles of his calves. The fingertips of his other hand slipped beneath the waist of my undergarment, and I sucked in a breath. He hesitated at the sound, pulling back slightly, but I bit his lip in a silent command that had him growling into my mouth. With one long claw, he shredded through silk and lace, and my undergarment fell away in pieces. The claw retracted, and his kisses deepened as his fingers slid between my legs, coaxing and teasing. I ground against his hand, yielding completely to the writhing wildness that had roared alive inside of me, and breathed his name into his skin. He paused again, his fingers retracting, but I grabbed him, pulling him further on top of me. I wanted him now. I wanted the barriers of our clothing to vanish. I wanted to taste his sweat. I wanted to become full of him. My own breathing became steady as I raised my nightgown over my head and tossed it to the floor. Utterly naked before him, I watched his gaze travel to my bare breast, peeked against the chill night, to my abdomen, to between my thighs. A ravenous, unyielding sort of hunger passed over his face. I bent a leg and slipped to the side, a silent invitation. He let out a low growl and slowly, with predatory intent, raised his gaze to mine. Give me everything, I breathed. He lunged, a beast free of his tether. We were a tangle of limbs and teeth. I tore his clothes until they were on the floor, then tore his skin until I marked him down his back and his arms. His claws were out, but devastatingly gentle on my hips as he slid down between my thighs and feasted on me, stopping only after I shuddered and fractured. I was moaning his name when he sheathed himself inside him powerfully, slow thrusts that had me splintering around him. I'd appreciate it if you didn't make me have to do this again in the future. Thank you.
Get it out of the libraries.